So this is the main piece, and now we will work all the together to compensate this part. So there are several ways. There are people that already put some soil on it. I don't like to put soil on it because I work a lot with hardscape. So I put direct the rocks above the glass and start working with that soil. And then I fill all the gaps with smaller rocks, with filter moss, and then I put the substrate. The sand is the last thing I put. There are no rules. We do what we think is better. My first piece will be this. When choosing our hardscape, we need to analyze it because, for example, this piece of wood from this side has a shape, from this side has a completely different shape. If you turn it like this, it's all bright, so it loses interest. If you put it like this, you gain a shadow area. We always need to find some shadow areas in the tank. In my competition tanks, I don't care if the wood is touching the glass or not. I will take a way to clean it. Of course, this is a gallery. We need to take care because I don't want to turn the job too difficult. For example, in my home, if I didn't want it to use, I don't like to put the soil in the first layer when I'm doing workshops because most of the time these tanks use a fertile layer in between the aqua soil. So we are going to use power sand to give powerful nutrition. If the power soil gets in contact with the water, the release of nutrients will be very higher and will give some problems at the beginning. This is the reason I prefer to create the zone where I'm going to put the power sand and then start pouring the soil above it. Of course, there are no perfect pieces in nature, so sometimes it's better to have one big piece of wood and then smaller ones, so we can glue it and make the composition. It will be easier. So this main piece is the main piece of wood. When it finishes, the main piece that will occupy at least 2/3 of the tank. The wood be present to accompany still more or less like this was, because when we look at the tank, we will see this nice big piece, and then we'll see the back. It's important to, when we are assemble the hardscape, like this. For example, this rock, this side completely flat. It's good to use on the back. When I want to fill the soil, it will hold it very well. This side, it's very more interesting. Sometimes we need to make some layers with rocks until we find the properly height we hunt, like this. I will make a rock bed here. To glue the wood, we will use cyanoacrylic super glue with a fusion compound. So this compound works like the toilet paper, but sometimes it's a bit more faster and it attaches better than the toilet paper. So we are going to glue this central piece. It will start releasing smoke and it will stay very hard. When we are working with this type of woods and bigger woods, we need to take in consideration that the probability of this floating is very high. So we need to secure very well. For example, sometimes I use expensive foam. It dries very fast too. Glue spots can be hidden later with some plants, some mosses. So I'm not worried too much because if they are visible now, because after planting, I will cover it. Plants are really useful to hide the worst parts of the hardscape. The first side is almost done. The central piece is that one. Of course, we will work later if needed to add some more details, some more pointy woods. I will see after. Then I go to go to this side. So for this side, to make the contrast with this big piece of wood, I will try to balance it. I will use big rocks from this side. We need to always try to connect the pieces, and then we put some plants on it, some moss, and it will be not visible. I always try to get the more rounded shapes or the more flat possible, because for example, this rock don't have the texture to put in the front, but to create support zones and just to give some gray tones, it's okay. When you see a landscape, you can see details on what is more near us. And on the back, we can see all of the same details that you can see on the front. Rocks with less detail can be used on the back of the tank. Right now, I'm trying to give support with stone for this area, trying to fill the gaps with rocks so I can spread the aqua soil and the power sand in this area. I need an open area that comes here. This is where I wanted the shape of the plants, do this U shape. If I was at home alone, I probably would stick some foam in here to place the woods and the rocks where I wanted, and then I glued myself. it helps. It's more easy. When we are using big woods, at least 3 points of wood with rocks. So to make sure that it's not float, we need to attach it in the most points possible.
Do you ever use screws or zip ties?
So I put zip ties when I'm working alone to fix most of pairs, but usually I take off the zip ties after. This year what I use it more is the expensive foam because I like it. If I want to reuse that hardscape, it will be easier to remove the foam after. When you have all these holes, I put the foam in here and it's all closed. We can use other glues, we can use no regular silicone for aquariums, but the time of dry, it's much faster with super glue and something to react to super glue. So right now I'm starting to put some soil on it. I just need to fill the gaps. Shuttle wood, even if now something is visible, with time it will be darkened and will be okay to use. It's a good way to fill the gaps. When working with super glue, it's really handful these points to reach the most difficult places. When we are working with the high grounds in the back, we need to separate this part. So imagine if I will put soil till here, I need to certify that the soil will not fall into the front. So we need to put a lot of rocks in the back. So I'm just creating a barrier of rocks so I can put the soil on the back. We need to create movement on the front zone to make more flow on the scape. Putting some rocks pointing to some places, and we'll break out this even line that I have here right now. I will put some detail rocks underneath the wood because, like I told, this is a shadow area, but I want to have details there. So this is a tank that will be looked at live, so people can see it easily. If it gets empty, it loses interest. This type of wood is very bold. Just have one inconvenience. When we soak it, the first week, the water is pure black. It demands a bit more water changes at the beginning. What I usually do in my home, I start with dark start. So I make the hardscape, then fill it with water, leave it for a month. No water changes. After 3-4 weeks, I drain it, plant it, and then start from the beginning. All the tannins that came out from the water will disappear. The water will be clear after the water change. Of course, if I see that the water is too dark, meanwhile, I make a water change. So in the back, where will be the more demanding plants, stem plants, is where I'm going to put the power sand, okay? It's the first layer, a nutritive layer. Since the grains, these are palm rock, create more space to the bacteria integration. If you use soil since the bottom till the end, the soil can be too compact, and sometimes there are zones where the bacteria cannot live well. So with this helps a lot. We just need to take consideration that this part must be always covered with soil. Aquasoil Amazonia too, the one we are going to use today. Right now they bring some tabs of fertilization too. We can start putting them on this time underneath, above the power stand, or then you can stick in the soil after we have all the layer put. To have a nice plant area, I always recommend at least 5 fingers of soil in the back, because soil will help with the stability of the water. It will help with the nutrition of the plants. So it's important to have a good layer. Of course, the contest tanks that I probably put soil till here will take some more, but it's not a problem. Now we need to hold this soil here, so I will make another rock layer here to help me to sustain this on the place. So right now we have this line here, the strongest one, and then we start working in the details. These flat rocks are very good to create these barriers because they don't occupy too much space. I can put it like this, and I always have the back to save to plant. So we have a line of wood. It's always interesting to have a layer of rocks. And if you can separate the wood from the rocks, I have space then to put some moss on here. It will separate them to the side. Then I will attach it. All the rocks are good for this too. For example, this rock, this flat surface, it's not wood, so we need to attach some wood here. It's a game of patience. What I'm trying to do right now is to make some angle on the rocks so that they can, the light, when the light touches the rock, we don't have shadows. Just to have some more dark points in this zone, well, will be always plants. So we have stems from here to here in this zone too. So we need to create some dark areas and that spot to break a little the brightness of the colors of the plant. Because the line is too straight. Sometimes we need to break a bit. Just trying to first get the good shape, and then I will glue it. This is like playing with Legos. We need to find the right piece and stick it on the place. These flat and small ones are good for that. All the woods are always supported by, they are not hanging in the nature normally, so we need to give some support to them with some rocks. The center is clean, the end point is almost in that zone. Just need a bit more work in here, but I will put some more soil there. When I put the sand, it will be more bright. We just need to put some details with rock. Imagine if you want some colors, but you don't want the colors visible on the front, and you want some red spots here. But I don't want the spot to be visible from the front. If I put some red plants here, it will give a red tone on the water surface. Even if we can disguise, because usually we make some waves in the top of the tank, but with the top reflection, we will see red. I will always play with all the side in the top one. To make a nice reflection, there are two options. Imagine I put a rock in here. I put them in the way that it touches the glass. So when we take the photo, usually we use a wider lens. When we take the photo, the reflection will complete the rock. So you'll see the rock twice. If you want to add some details of the reflection, imagine I have a big piece here, but I want to add details in the side reflection. I need to certify that there is space between the element and the back, so we can see what's behind the rock, or the wood in this case. So we have that two possibilities, or to enlarge an element, or to gain detail from things that you cannot see from the front. The same happens in the top. So imagine I have big wood here, I have very lot of greens, but I want to see some gray in the top or some more. So we put hot rocks behind. When you take the photo, on the top of the tank will be gray, other colors that cannot be seen on the frontal shot. Imagine this is more sharp. If you give some space, you will see the end. You will see that the rock will continue to the infinite. It adds more depth to the tank. If you want to create more sense of depth, we need to hide the beginning of the hardscape. So there are a lot of options to play with the corners and with the reflection. In this tank I will put the red ones in the middle, because the red, when you look to a tank, what is the first thing you see? The red. So if you want to directionate your view to the end point, you should put the red one in the middle. Since this zone here, I would like to end with the green. Red in this both sides, and then go to green, but we'll go with the 4 types of rotalas, so we can make the transition of the colors. But when I'm planting, I will explain all of this. With all these rocks, I think nothing is going to float. This is super toxic. This smoke is very, to the eyes, it's very bad. In this tank, I didn't want to have too much reflections. That's why I'm going to stick some ferns on it to cover it, because the view will be mainly from the front. So right now I'm sticking all the rocks so we can not move on the maintenance. Why I like to have big soil. If you want to take a lot of color from the plants, the more near they are from the light, the more intense color it will have. If you don't put too much soil, the plants in the back, the stems will start rotting in the bottom if you don't replant it regularly. If you have less space, the stems will handle better and the color will be better if they are more near the light, because the light distribution in the tank is not the same. The center zone will be much more highlighted than a bit more the back. So with all this hardscape, if I don't put soil till here, the plants will be hidden by the rocks and the light will not reach them properly. So I prefer to put some more soil and the plants get enough light to gain the rich colors. Sometimes after 5-6 trims I need to replant it, but usually rotalas can handle very well the trimming. There are planters not. For example, Luigia SP Red Mini, don't, after 2-3 trims, the stem will be very thick and will die. We need to replant it. Where Rotalas, I can cut it 10 times and they always raise again. Rotalas are a very versatile plant because if you have enough light, you will go down, and the plants will go down, especially the green one. We'll start seeing going down if it have very strong light, and fill very well the spaces. I like to work a lot with Rotalas for that. But in corners, usually with the big hardscapes, colors are always more dark zones. So we need to put shade plants in there. So anubias, ferns, plants that they are indicated for that zones. Cryptocorynes, for example, Cryptoparva, that's a very small plant, but it handles well the darker zones. So the plants I put in that zones. Before I put the sand, I put some pebbles to fill the space because it feels better than the sand. I will use some gravel from ADA. So I will put in all that zones, then I put the sand. I'm thinking maybe trying to bring the sand until here. I will check if I like it or not. So this don't move. This don't move. So what I'm trying to do now is to give some movement on this line. If I break it with some rocks, so the sand will make a wave. It will be more interesting. These rocks, I don't like to glue it just because sometimes I need to take it to clean it. Because when I need to clean rocks, what I usually do at my home, I drain the water and I paint them with the cardboard Excel, and then I fill it again. 2 days after the rock, it's like it was in the first day. But it's very difficult to drain the water till this level. So some of them I take out, I paint it and put it back. So this is why I don't like to glue it. So I will make a pass of sand here. I always like to use some white sands. There are a lot of options in the market, but there are any similar to this one. The size of the grains, the color of the grains, it's really unique.
How often do you need to change the sand?
Maybe in 1 year of life of the tank, I need to refill maybe 3-4 times. If you want to plant in the sand, it's important that you lay maybe 2-3 centimeters of sand. The plants grow well in the sand if they have enough nutrition on the water column. But if the layer is too thin, they do not develop roots. For example, Eleocharis, Minima, I like always to have some Marsilea in the sand bed. It's important to spread the sand. I will put the sand until here. If I didn't like the sand hill here, the plants will cover it. In maintenance, it's important to not have too many lower places in the sand, so dirt do not accumulate in here. Of course, with time, we need to redo some of this because the sand, and we vacuum some of the smaller stones will be vacuumed together, but the details must be larger in the front, smaller in the back. After the pause, more or less I will say how it will be planted, and we'll start planting.